Now we're going to do the top 5 mistakes that advisors make in sales presentations that cost them sales. This is what's costing you a sale.
Game time.
You did all the work. You got to this point. You're presenting additional work that is needed, and the customer does not do it because of, number 1, the parts department.
How did I know you were going to guess?
Just
Number
a
1.
joke. Just a joke, Jeremy.
Parts
I'll be
department.
here all week, 2 shows a day and a matinee and Sunday.
Number 1 is they are not prepared for the presentation. So they simply pick up the phone and they wing it. So what are some of the things that we should do to be prepared for the presentation?
Get dressed.
Get dressed. Yes, have your shirt on. One of the things
You gotta wake up to get up.
Wow, you a lot
You
of
gotta
insight.
put your shoes on to move.
Well, no, let's help our listeners and our viewers out with how do they prepare for a sales presentation. What do we mean? Number 1 is this. You've got to have the customer's primary concern dealt with and make sure that you address that immediately before you go into any other additional concerns or what average advisors call recommendations. I absolutely hate that word, recommendations. It's just not a good word to use. But you got to deal with the customer's primary concern and then have your complete presentation prepared and ready to go. I'm also talking dollars and cents. So I like to go into every presentation with an A, B, and a C game plan with total dollars ready to go. So I know the numbers. I've got different options for the client, and I have my numbers so they can make a decision right away without punching the calculator.
So your ABC decision is what has to be addressed, what has to be addressed, and additional stuff that would be a good idea. And then C is just everything, take care of all of it.
Let's kind of flip it backwards. A is they fix everything. B is they fix their primary concern and any safety concerns. And then C is they only fix what they came in for.
Okay.
So that's basically
good.
Absolutely. Yep. We have that all in our new on-demand product that we created together. So it's all
It's
laid out.
selling
there in the
like
system.
crazy.
It is awesome. Number 2. I don't know. I can't quite see this one.
Do you want my glasses?
I do. Yeah. Can I borrow
They're
those?
kind of dirty.
Are they? Oh, there it is. Number 2. They are. They're not focused. So what do I mean by that? They're not focused.
They're not focused on their job, the customer, the outcome. They're distracted.
Yes. So think of this. When you're on the phone or making that presentation, there should be nothing else around you that interrupts you. You've got to be 100%, all of your energy, all your passion, everything that you do needs to be put into that presentation. And you've got to lock yourself off from the outside world. Do not let interruptions
You gotta
creep
be a
in.
pro.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's time to listen, right? We got to listen to the customer clues. If you get a red light, you've got to stop and deal with that objection before you move forward. So make sure that you're focused before you move into your presentation. Be ready to go. Number 3, T versus R, transactional versus relationship. So have you ever dealt with anybody where it's just been like a transaction and you could tell they didn't care about you at all?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So like the DMV,
Oh, good one. Yes.
TSA,
Absolutely.
a lot of advisors, the way they treat customers is worse than TSA.
Well, some of the TSA agents try to get relational with you where they search you at, I guess.
Yeah, where they're
Maybe it's just a
touching your crotch
transaction.
and all that.
That's just a transaction.
Yeah, but it's the wrong kind.
It is the wrong kind.
I've never had a TSA person so much as just ask me how my day is.
Right. No, you
Nothing.
can't have a
They
conversation.
could care less.
Absolutely. So we want to move from transactional, move into relationship. And remember, there's a person behind the car. You know, we talked about this on our last podcast, which was for the technicians to understand there's a person behind the car. It's not just a vehicle. And it's the same thing here. There are long-term financial consequences with the decision the customer has to make today. And if you view it as a transaction, sometimes you're only focused on your spiff, your commission, or what you're going to make off of the ticket. That stuff doesn't matter. What matters is the person that you're dealing with and how can you turn them into a lifelong key thrower for you to build your trust fund, right? That's what it's all about. So we've got to focus on the relationship and understand the decision that you're helping your client make today has financial consequences long term, and you've got to be there for them and help them with that relationship.
Yeah, it's really good.
Number 4 is the parts department.
Poor parts department.
You're going to like this one. Number 4 is they didn't pet the dog.
Yeah.
Now, so when I talk about petting the dog. Understand that the majority of your sales, over 80% of what leads a customer to a yes, is what you do at the drop. When the customer brings the vehicle in, they're judging you on that FaceTime, whether you genuinely care about them or not. Or whether I had a service advisor the other day tell me that every customer is cattle.
Cattle?
They're there to feed the business.
Was every customer's cattle?
Yeah. Customers don't want to be treated that way. They're going to be able to tell, right? So when we talk about petting the dog, there's a specific strategy to building that relationship and creating that lifelong customer experience for that customer. So what are some of the things that we should do when we pet the dog? What's the number one thing that we want to do to set up our presentation? What can we fail at by not managing what expectation?
So I think that one is it's connecting with the customer on a personal level, and second is you got to plant the seed for later on that you're going to do the inspection. Because if you don't plant the seed that you're going to do the inspection, a lot of times you call the customer and they're like, I didn't ask you to look at that. What's going on?
Yeah, right. Why'd you have my wheels off? I didn't ask you to check my brakes. Absolutely.
But if you start off that presentation with, hey, so my technician checked it out and found some things that should be addressed, right? So then you're the hero.
Yeah, but you frame it early in the conversation before there's any sales pressure on. Look, every customer understands when they get that phone call an hour or 2 hours, or for some service departments 4 weeks later after the car's been there, they know that that's the sales pitch. Now, what happens when human beings feel like they're being sold? Your guard goes up, right?
Right.
So it's the same thing. So we're going to frame it by petting the dog, building the relationship, but also letting the client know that we are going to do our inspection. Here's why. And now we have a client that's open to our offer when it's time for the presentation. So you've got to pet the dog. And if you haven't seen that video, go watch it. It is absolutely
Cartoon.
life-changing. It's great. Thanks for doing that. It's been awesome. Number 5, drum roll, please. Parts department. Sorry, parts. I have one of the best One of the best parts managers I ever worked with was Brian Luke, and the guy was just a rock star. So Brian, I'm sorry that we're picking on the parts department, but it's all good.
It's all in fun.
You are absolutely gonna love this one. Number 5 is they do not have a sales coach. So how many service advisors have a sales coach out there? What do you think the percentage is?
I don't know, 5%? I'm just thinking of the market share
It's
we
probably
have.
even lower than that.
Lower, yeah, probably.
So I remember one of the
It's not a lot.
No, it's not. One of the very first classes that I ever did was back in 2007. Dating myself now. And I remember out of that class, there was 2 guys, Jim and Mike. And Jim, Mike, and myself, we stayed in constant contact for probably 10 years, where we would talk to each other each week. And we had this little support group that we built. And obviously I was their sales coach, but that relationship lasted so much longer, and it helped us because their shop would have different specialties than my shop. And it was just nice to have that network to support myself in and help myself grow and then push myself as well. So what are some of the things you think having a sales coach would help a service advisor out in? Especially with their presentation.
I mean, it's going to go the whole gamut, right? Because I'm just thinking about myself. Like, so the first one is mindset and tools. Mm-hmm. The second one is role playing and practice. A lot of advisors don't have any tools.
Okay.
And they're practicing every day on live customers.
Oh, that's the most expensive form of practice we could do, right?
Right, it's a waste.
Yeah, it is, absolutely.
And so you're going into the game, practicing during the game. So I think the thing that you learn from having coaches and training is tools, mindset, different approaches, different things to say, timing, that sort of thing. And then, role playing and shut up. Like, that's the biggest thing when I'm coaching advisors, and I think you would say the same thing, is shut up. Most advisors talk people out of it.
Yes, they do. Absolutely.
You just sound like you're nervous. The other thing is I think a lot of advisors see the sale through their wallet, and having a coach helps you understand that you're selling value, you're providing a service, something you should feel good about, and not, just because you drive a car that if you if you did an oil change on it, it doubled the value of the car. Doesn't mean that that's how the customers feel. You're keeping them, you're keeping them safe as they're driving their family around, getting to work, school, that sort of thing. So, yeah, that's what I think. I used to role play with anybody.
Absolutely. My technicians wouldn't let me talk to them after a certain bit. Like, nope, I got to work. You go practice somewhere else, But it does help. So I think having a sales coach is absolutely huge.
Confidence too. Like, then you have confidence.
It does.
If you're practicing on customers, you have no confidence, then you don't sell, then you lose your confidence even more.
Yeah.
Like, I remember practicing gave me confidence.
It does.
Like, then when I was with the customer, I was in control. I wasn't like, scared.
It's a hard business because, let's face it, customers are more savvy today. They're going to challenge your pricing. You've got to be razor sharp in your skills. So when you do get that presentation, you can fully disclose everything that the car needs and help the customer make a good decision. What would happen if the customer said yes to everything? The shop couldn't handle the work. There's so much work out there that if we can just help you improve 20 to 30%, it's a huge return on investment. So definitely get a sales coach. And if you need help with that, you can check out our website at chriscollinsinc.com.
It's good stuff, man.
It
I like
is.
that list. Great job.
So the top 5 mistakes that service advisors make in their sales presentation are: number 1, parts department; number 2, parts department; number 3, parts department;
Number 4, you need a sales coach.
number 4, you need a sales coach. Absolutely.
Thank you so much for watching this clip of Service Drive Revolution. Now you can catch the full episode on YouTube, iTunes, or Spotify, or wherever you consume your podcast. If you have any questions, go ahead and post them in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe and hit the bell icon so you're notified when we post new episodes. I'm Chris Collins, and you can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Chris Bulldog Collins. And I'll see you again on the next episode.